Thank you, Mark. Mr. Speaker, delegates, great to see you all here again. It was a year ago I stood here at the podium as Monica led me in the oath of office as president of the WDA. It was with a certain amount of trepidation of the unexpected of the coming year, but also with a high level of excitement to get on with the business of leading the WDA. This is an organization that is not needing sweeping changes to its structure. And at my time at this head table and at the head tables of other organizations, I have certainly encountered some that do. Due to the excellent member leadership that has been before me over the past years, the superb work of our executive director and the staff, WDA has been continuously responsive to the changing dynamics of our social and political environment and has remained relevant to our members' lives. My proof of this is a membership approaching 84%. We're well ahead of the national ADA average and well ahead of the goals of many of our sister state associations. I was asked this year by one of the leaders of the WDHA and ADHA in complimenting us about our high membership levels. And she asked me what was the primary reason. I told her the primary reason was a great sense of value and one voice representing the majority views of dentistry in the state of Wisconsin, something that was lacking in their organization. But more about that later. I spoke of change in my president's address last year. More specifically, it was directed to the escalating rate of change in our lives. We were 1 week past the most sweeping change in political power on a national and state level in years. And now, in just 1 year, we are in the midst of an unprecedented debate on health care that has the potential of a huge impact of our profession, practices, families, and our lives, well into the future. We are bombarded by talking heads on TV and internet expounding opinions ranging from impending economic doom to the opposite extreme of being the first steps, long overdue, to a greater equality in society. The one thing we can be certain is that our world will be different tomorrow than it is today. We are uncomfortable with change because of the uncertainty. There is comfort in knowing how your daily schedule will go, your year, or how your life will unfold. Change is stressful, but is also an opportunity. I believe during my brief helm at this organization, my leadership team and I have helped effect positive change that improves our opportunities to serve our members and the public good. In February, leadership met with the Wisconsin Primary Health Care Association, an organization very popular with legislators in regards to access, and an organization that we have butted heads with in the past. We came away from that meeting with an accord of mutual understanding and respect of our respective views and agreed to work together in areas of agreement. From that came an ongoing dialogue that resulted in both groups having a better understanding of the challenges facing both FQHCs and CHCs in private practices, and some opportunities for us to improve and work together. Another outcome of that meeting was a request of Greg Nitsch whether the Wisconsin Dental Association would support the concept of another dental school in the state at Marshfield, modeled after the Arizona School of Dental Oral Health. Just about that same time, our colleagues in Minnesota were dealing with the ADHP initiative and had, by a political mandate, developed a multi-tier mid-level provider. This resulted in us forming a task force on impending changes in dental education. Our group gathered data on the dental school model that Marshfield wanted to emulate, including personal interviews of deans, past faculty, students, and realized that while the educational model was quite different from our knowledge and experience of university-based education, the outcomes of this school's graduates were well above the national averages on national boards and acceptance into graduate programs. So now the question was not whether the graduates were of school model capable, but whether there was a need, a real need. In about a month, leadership will be meeting with the Dental Workforce Study Research Group from the University of Connecticut for the final report and review of that study outcome. My response to Greg Nitsch was that any WDA support for another dental school in the state would be based on need determined from the study, along with the integration of potential expansion of Marquette University, potential expansion of expanded function utilization, and yet to be addressed, the impact mid-level providers may have. And ladies and gentlemen, we need to realistically address the mid-level concept and not fool ourselves to think that we can prevent this from further development. Along with the first class graduating from the University of Minnesota in 2013, the Kellogg Foundation presently is seeking grant recipients of $200,000 a year for 3 years to develop a DHAT concept provider in Kansas, New Mexico, Ohio, Vermont, and Nebraska. This concept appeals to legislators who are faced with even greater state deficits that may total more than $180 billion for all 50 states in 2001. Now that dwarfs the state deficit that we're talking about now that's in the news media. So it's going to get worse. And the most recent report ranks Wisconsin as one of the top 10 most fiscally challenged states. It will be part of our future. By taking an obstructionist approach and engaging the mid-level provider initiative, I fear we may find ourselves having diminished input into the development of educational criteria and scope of practice of these individuals. What Dr. Pat Lloyd, Dean of University of Minnesota School of Dental School, accomplished with his program is to be commended. He has done all of dentistry a service by taking the bold step of moving ahead with a program that assures the best preparation and training for these new providers. How the profession of dentistry responds will determine whether we remain as the lead agent in the development of this team member or on the sidelines as outside organizations control the outcome. It was with the same mindset that WDA and WDHA leadership met to develop a workable collaborative practice guideline that meets the needs of public health outreach and assuring public safety. Internal political pressure from a few hygienists within the WDHA prevented us from moving ahead with WDHA as a partner, but that has not deterred us, as we have found a more formidable partner. WDA has proposed to establish a public health hygienist, requiring substantial clinical experience, additional training in public health and community services, prior to their ability to work under collaborative agreement with a dentist or with the Department of Health Services. This allows a hygienist the greatest flexibility to outreach into a number of public health settings while eliminating hygienists acting independently with no supervisory control. We have received very positive support from the Wisconsin Chief Dental Officer, Dr. LeMay, Lisa Bell, and others, and is presently being reviewed at higher levels in DHS for further action. In my comments, I've mentioned my interaction with WDHA this past year, and I'd like to expand on that. That's been a big portion of my year. Based on my experiences, I feel it is time for us to re-examine Wisconsin Dental Association as a professional home, not for just dentists, but also for our critical partners in oral health, the dental hygienists. Their national organization is financially broken. Their leadership has stated they may not survive the recession. Membership is an all-time low, and they're predicting a 7 to 10% drop in membership in 2010. The reason is low value and an advocacy message that is not in tune with the beliefs of the vast majority of hygienists. As president, I've always encouraged the dissenting minority view be heard as we deliberate the business of the WDA. Not so with the WDHA. I witnessed leaders who wish to express the views of mainstream hygienists be shunned and isolated by those few who exert influence for their own agenda. Because of this, I've set up a task force chaired by Dr. Paul Levine to explore the possibilities of establishing a professional home for hygienists within our great organization. I believe there's untapped potential to make our organization even stronger, and we'll look forward to the results of the task force in future years. While my term as president is ending, in many ways I feel my service at WDA is distant. Our organization is strong, both professionally and financially, and we will remain so if we continue to be ever vigilant, adapt, and help form the changing dynamics of our profession that's in the best interest of our members and the public we serve. I certainly thank you for the privilege and opportunity to serve as your president. Thank you.